Mods for new POIs. Starfield modders are cracking the code. Hello everyone, this is Richard. Welcome to Starfield Essentials! One of the Holy Grails of Starfield is creating new POIs throughout the known galaxy. We have already seen mods and creations adding individual unique POIs, such as the Hyla II retreat. Today I'm pleased to introduce a mod called Dark Universe Takeover, which offers a new class of POI. This mod is by Kaosnyrb, author of many mods for Starfield. For example, I covered the Dark Universe Crossfire mod in April. This video will tell you everything you need to know about Dark Universe Takeover and my assessment of it. Dark Universe Takeover is currently only available on Nexus Mods. I expect to see it on Creations after a period of testing and feedback. As with all additions to Starfield, I recommend having at least one reliable save available before testing this mod. If the code doesn't work for you, you can revert back to your reliable save. If you're on Xbox and have access to a PC, check out my video on backing up those saves using cross-play features. Dark Universe Takeover introduces a new sort of procedurally generated ground fortress. This is really clever, because Kaosnyrb wrote his own code, called StarTiller, to build these POIs. There are 50 of these fortress POIs in the mod, with names like Desolate Parapet, Disowned Barracks, and Far-Flung Alcazar. In my testing, I encountered 16 different versions with no duplicates. There are several ways to find these POIs. The easiest way to guarantee that you will find a takeover POI is to accept a mission board assignment that mentions one of them. You may have to clear some existing tasks from your mission boards before the Dark Universe Takeover assignments appear. I was able to find tasks with the Dark Universe Takeover locations on the generic mission board and on boards for the UC Vanguard, Freestar Rangers, and Trackers Alliance. A second way to find these locations is to land on a planet or moon and just look for them nearby. They are distinct and can be easily recognized on the improved map. The third and final way is to identify them from orbit by name. These locations seem to appear less frequently, but it does happen. There are some issues to be aware of when landing at orbital scanned POIs. I will discuss that shortly. What can you expect at a Dark Universe Takeover POI? The basic location is a roughly rectangular fortress with high walls, several platform towers, and one or more developed entrances. The openings are large enough to fit the Rev 8 rover, so feel free to ride into one of these at your peril. The bases are staffed by spacers. They seem to come in two waves, although I admit the mods I use might affect the exact mechanics. For reference, I tested Dark Universe Takeover while using my Take It to the Limit with Chaos mods loadout. That includes the Bedlam Dungeon Randomizer and Doubled Enemy Numbers mods. I've approached these fortresses using two different tactics. The first tactic requires finding high ground near the fortress. I'd drive up there, crouch behind cover, and snipe at visible targets. This seems to be viable if high ground is within a couple hundred meters or so of the base. If I'm farther away, the enemy NPCs don't appear. One option is to make an initial close pass to trigger the NPCs and then retreat to high ground for sniping. When fighting the NPCs this way, they have a tendency to want to rush out of the base towards you. This makes it easier for you to clear them. I usually have multiple companions with me, such as Sarah, Andreja, Marika, Astrid, and Vasco. I concentrate on the far targets and leave any close-in targets to my companions. The second tactic for clearing these POIs is to charge in, or at least occupy one of the walls or towers right away. This can be pretty dangerous, as the enemy NPCs are fairly close and can immediately deliver a ton of fire. There's another way to approach these POIs. This method relies on two mods that can spawn friendly follower NPCs suited for assaulting a heavily defended base. The first is Stalkers and Followers by SKK Mods. I talked about it in this video. This mod is useful if you want to assemble a platoon and clear the POI together. The second is NPC Spawner Danger Zone by Nerv. I talked about it in my combat field video. With this mod, you can throw a grenade into the fortress and spawn friendly NPCs where it lands. If you time it right, the enemies in the POI will start fighting your squad of UC Marines or Ryujin security, giving you additional firepower. What do you find at the Dark Universe Takeover location? These POIs seem to feature a couple of buildings common to each version you encounter. One is a sort of barracks area without much loot. The second is a control room. Here you will find 2 mannequins with a full spacesuit. There are also weapons and ammo nearby. In the courtyard of the fortress, I have found chests containing more loot. There might be a legendary, some credits, an Astra, and the like. Here are a few observations about this mod. First, it could be easy to dismiss this mod as just another fortress. Yes, they are all technically different, but they are not that much different. I understand that reaction. I perceive this mod a little differently. To me, this shows that a modder like Kaosnyrb is cracking the code for POI generation. If you read comments on Reddit and elsewhere, you'll see people asking, where are the POI mods? We have to remember that the creation kit has only been available since June. Tools that modders have traditionally relied upon, such as Xedit, are struggling with suboptimal choices made by BGS coders. Even official documentation is still not here. Best we have is a leak of content, but we don't know where it came from or what stage of development it represents. To me, mods like Dark Universe Takeover show that it is possible to start creating procedurally generated POIs in Starfield. This is different from proc-gen planets and moons. In this spirit, I'd like to mention work by Platinum and DJ Legends on their mod POI Variations. This mod is trying to change POIs so they are not all exact duplicates of each other. For example, players might see different clutter placement, different loot, and different enemy locations. In some cases, like the abandoned Cryo Lab, the POI has been renamed the Abandoned Lab because all of the ice and snow is gone. This is another example of making the game more interesting for players. My second observation is that the player spawn point for these Dark Universe Takeover fortresses seems to be the center of the POI. In contrast, the spawn marker for most exterior POIs is 100 meters or so outside the POI. This is not a big deal, with one exception. If you see one of these POIs from orbit and choose to land at it, you will generally spawn far away from the POI. This is normal for most locations in Starfield, unless the POI has a landing pad. However, consider this scenario. Say you land on a planet that has one or more Dark Universe Takeover POIs visible from space. You don't land at one of the Dark Universe POIs initially. Let's say you land anywhere else. Once on the planet, when you choose to fast travel to the Dark Universe POI, and you actually don't have a choice, you and your party will materialize at the spawn point. And this will be in the middle of the fortress. Hello! Suddenly you're taking fire from every direction. I learned this the hard way. I will suggest to the mod author to change the spawn marker to 100 meters from the POI, if possible. Overall, I'm really happy with the Dark Universe Takeover mod. Anything that adds variety to the Starfield universe is a positive. It's a straightforward addition that seems to work well with the mods I enjoy. I hope we see further development of these techniques, both above and below ground. What do you think of this mod? Will you give it a try? Are there others I should look at? Please let me know in a comment below. If you made it to this part of the video, leave a comment saying Fortress. Also, remember to ring the bell icon and select all notifications if you think Andreja should have a fort named after her. If you'd like to hear my summary of all the Shattered Space news from Gamescom, check out my Starfield news playlist. My name is Richard. I will see you in the Starfield.